Hello, my name is Dirk Moondall, and today what I'm going to do is a show called Freeform Dreadlock Talk. Freeform Dreadlock Talk is a show where I share with you my experience with having freeform dreadlocks. Almost 21 years it'll be in July of this year. I share with you my experiences, and I share with you other people's experiences and their questions on their journey that they like to have answered in this format on this show. And sometimes I share with you tutorials like on how to do freeform dreadlock beads, which is what I'm going to do today. It's going to be, excuse me, a simple tutorial that anybody can do. And I hope I brought everything I need with me. If I haven't, we'll just we'll just wing it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do today is show you how to make fabric dreadlock beads. So you can make them as elaborate or as simple as you want, just with any beads that you make. So I'm just trying to see what I got in here. So I can show you an example of something that's simple, and this is simple. It's not done yet, I don't think. Let me grab my scissors so I can cut off the thread on it. Let's see. But I like to work with recycled fabrics, and I've got tons of recycled fabric, and the best thing I find recycled fabrics are good for is making fabric beads. I didn't bring like a pencil or a pen to shape the bead around. You can always use, oh, I got something here. Or do I have anything else? I think there's a box over here that has some supplies in it. Just a minute. I've been in the middle of moving, so things are a little all over the place. Okay, here we go. I got some pens in here, or markers I can use to shape the fabric around it to form a bead. So I'll show you that. I've done other fabric bead embroidered beads tutorials on this channel, but I thought I'd do an up-to-date one specifically on dreadlock beads. So depending on how thick you want it, how wide you want the hole to be for your dreadlock, that's how you determine what you're going to use to wrap the fabric around. So let me see. This is a bead that it was already started, and this bead obviously was started probably with a pencil because it's not fitting around this fabric marker. But so basically what you're going to want to do is have some thread. I have 3 colors of thread. I have orange, I have red, and I have like pink color. So that's what I have right now here. And so you could take some fabric. Where did I put that fabric? I've got some wool fabric that's from a sweater that got eaten by moths. And I like the fabric still, so I kept the fabric. And so what you can do is choose whatever fabric you want. You can use a fabric that has designs on it. I have this fabric too, which is blue, bright blue colors. So you can use whatever colors you want. So if you're going to make a dreadlock bead for a really thick dread like this one that I have, or one even the thick like this one right here, then you're just going to use a bigger, wider object to wrap your fabric around. Sometimes if you're making one for a dreadlock that say it's this big, this wide, I mean, you can just kind of guesstimate and measure it and, like, you know, take the fabric, cut out some fabric, and then wrap it around that dreads and see, you know, just how much of the fabric you need. So let me show you, for example, like this one or this one. Let me do this thick one, and I'll show you. So I'm just going to, oops, sorry. I'm just going to cut some of this fabric here. So, and I love working with wool. So let me cut the ends off of here. And then I'm just kind of going to measure this, right, this one, and see how that would work. So yeah, you get an idea of where you'd have to sew it, which would be right at this area. Let me see if this fabric marker works, and I can mark the area of where to sew. So here, okay, let's do that again. Let's wrap it around here. So I'd have to sew it together right at this area. So I'm looking at it all on the camera, so about right here. Hopefully this left a mark. Okay, so I didn't leave a mark. Cool. So if you don't have something to wrap around that's that wide, you can just kind of guesstimate by, because see I put a mark right there, so you can see where to sew it together, the ends together. So just do like that, like so. So I'm gonna make so I guess what's gonna happen today is I'm gonna make a wide dreadlock bead. It's gonna turn out more like a dreadlock sleeve, I guess you would say, because a bead I'm thinking more smaller or wider and rounder, but yeah. So basically what I'm gonna do is put some sort of pin in here to keep it together. You can make these beads smaller, like I said. You can wrap them around a marker, a pencil, even a toothpick if you want it. And what's on here? That's a paper bead on there. But yeah, recycling is a wonderful thing. So what I'm going to decide to do is use, you tell me I don't have any extra needles in here? Oh no. This is a travesty. Seriously, I don't have another needle? Oh, here we go. Duh, here's my pin cushion. It's good to have a pin cushion so that you can keep those pins in place and not have them around and someone ends up stepping on them. That sucks. I've stepped on needles before and it's unpleasant. So here we go. I'm just going to use this orange here. And basically what I'm doing right now is, okay, if you want to get verbatim with what I'm doing right now, I'm threading the needle. But what I'm about to do is sew those two ends together to create a larger dreadlock bead. Yeah, it'll end up becoming more like a bead, I think, when I embroider it, because that's what I plan on doing. And when I embroider beads, it takes a long time. Especially the bigger the bead, the longer the time it takes. So I like the feel of this fabric, this wool. It's a really soft wool, almost feels like cashmere. So right now I'm just sewing, see what I'm doing? I'm just sewing these ends together to make the bead, to shape the bead. And because you're sewing it by hand, you want to make sure you sew it really well so that it doesn't unravel and come apart easily. And I find that making these beads can be very, very relaxing and very meditative. I'll take this one needle out. I don't need that in there. Yeah, it can be very relaxing. If you've had a hard day or whatever, you can just grab out your stash of fabrics, recycled fabrics, and make some beads. Yeah, they take a lot of time to make, but the end result is just wonderful, and it's an original piece of wearable art, if you think about it, that you put into your dreads. A lot of people feel self-conscious when they just start out on their dreadlock journey, especially people who decided to embark upon a freeform dreadlock journey. Everybody's dreadlocks form differently in the beginning. Everybody has a different texture of hair, and depending on what texture of hair you have, that'll determine how your dreads will turn out and look. And even, people that have the same texture hair, or they think they have the same texture hair as someone else, it'll still turn out different because each person has a different personality. So I sewed that together. Now I'm going to sew the top part to secure that. That way that it gets formed more and more into a bead. So, like I said, if you had something this wide to form the bead around, that might make it easier. But I just kind of have my fingers in there so that I can establish the hole for the bead. So, yeah, this is a fun process. You can get as elaborate, or you can be as elaborate or as simple as you want with making these beads. Hold on, I'm going to take this off. I'm kind of getting hot with this on. I've been dressing in layers because it's been really cold here in sunny California. Very cold. It's like some days we got to, like, in the late 30s, I believe. So, but yeah. Oh, I'm using the wrong color. I was using orange. I'll continue with the orange. So yeah, you can even do, like I say, you can do an embroidery. You can do embroidery designs on there on the Dreadlock bead. I'm kind of feeling like that's what I'm gonna want to do with this one that I'm working on. And yeah, it's fairly simple to do, but it takes a lot of time and focus. So I think that making these beads can be very therapeutic. Like I said, you just got home from a very stressful day. You could just bring out your fabrics and start making beads, And there's so many different kinds of beads you can make. Not only do I make fabric beads, I also make paper beads. I make polymer clay beads. I made some bamboo beads a couple of times. I sewed those already. What other kind of beads? Yeah, I've never made paper beads for wearing in your hair. Never done that because I just felt like paper beads weren't sturdy enough to make dreadlock beads out of. But you probably could, because you probably could make some that are sturdy enough to wear on your head in your dreadlocks if you made them like strong enough and thick enough, the paper beads, and used a bonding agent like Mod Podge that can seal it and make it strong. Yeah. But usually with my paper beads, I make them for jewelry and not for like dreadlock beads, because I feel like that the fabric beads and the polymer clay dreadlock beads will last a little bit longer than, say, paper beads for dreadlocks. Especially if you end up like wearing them all the time overnight, accidentally wear them in the shower. The paper beads that I make are water resistant but not waterproof, so you wouldn't want to wear it in the shower. These fabric beads I'm making, but this one in particular, this one, because it's made from a wool fabric, you probably wouldn't want to get it wet too often, or to wear it in the shower. You'd probably want to take your bead. I think it's a good idea just in general to take your beads out when you get in the shower if you're deciding to cleanse your dreadlocks. For me, I found that it's a good idea to remove all my beads. So, and I'm going to be doing a cleanse on my hair today, so that's why I don't have anything in my dreads right now. And they're doing really well. Thank you for those who have been asking, and those who have put really kind messages in the comment section. I've been looking at them. I haven't been able to get to all the comments on this channel, and I apologize for that, but does not mean I haven't seen your comment. And a lot of times I try to give it a thumbs up if I can, or a heart if I'm on my phone and I see that someone left a message or a comment. So yeah. But yeah, I'm coming up on 21 years in July that I've had my dreadlocks, and I've learned so much from having dreadlocks. I felt like I was already a patient person, but I learned even more patience through having my hair form naturally on my head. That's what this is all about to me, is not manipulating my hair too much. Now, I do put my hair into under braids every now and then, and I'll wrap my dreadlocks with yarn or thread for extra color if I'm feeling like, man, I wish I could dye my hair, but I know I don't want to do that, go down that route. So I just, do these type of things, like wrapping my dreadlocks with really colorful yarn, whatever color I have available, or sometimes thread, but I have this really thick thread that I use. I don't think I have any more of it though, but yeah, that's fun stuff I can do with my dreadlocks without causing a lot of damage to them. So now I'm doing the other end, whether it's the bottom or the top. So see how that is, and now how the hole is forming. See that? So it's fairly easy. It just takes a lot of time because you're creating this by hand. So yeah, if you wanted to, you can get really experimental. And if you have like a really just basic color like I do right here, which is this tan color of wool fabric, what you could do is mix another fabric in with it. Like, for instance, let me show you what I mean by that in just a minute. What I'm going to do is going to finish off the bottom here, and then I'll show you what I mean by that. Because that's why I brought these two colors over, because I wanted to experiment with using both fabrics together into one bead. So I'll show you what I'm going to do next after I sew this together on the bottom. You want to make sure you do have something established, like if it's just for your two fingers or something there, so that the hole doesn't close up. Because this is a bigger bead, there's less chance of the hole closing up. But when you have smaller beads like these, like this, the hole can close up easily if you don't, so the hole's not closed up on this, but the hole can close up easily if you don't sew it really well on the bottom and on the top. Even this one I need to work on. It's not even done yet, but yeah, this little bead in its inception. Wish I had some more beads to show you. I don't have them right now. I've been selling so many of them, so... Oh, here we go. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you follow my channel, you probably already have, but this is one of the beads, fabric beads that I've painted. So you can paint the fabric beads as well, because the fabric bead will have the same kind of texture as canvas would when you paint it. Because of course canvas is made from fabric, you know. The original canvas was made from hemp fabric, so yep. But yeah, I love using fabrics to make decorative and symbolic, sometimes, art pieces to put into my dreadlocks. Because I feel like the hair on my head, the dreadlocks, they are my antenna, and they have picked up on a lot of interesting things over the years. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree with that if you're on a dreadlock journey, and your reaction from other people is so different when you have dreadlocks, at least with me, as opposed to when I had, ages ago, had my hair in a TWA, teeny weeny afro, as to now, you know, with my dreadlocks the way they are. In the beginning, it wasn't such a great greeting that I would get from people, because my dreadlocks were just like, you know, sprouting out wherever because they were shorter. And now that they're longer, not too many people are raising a fuss. But yeah, that's basically it. And see that right there? So what you could do if you wanted to go any further, like I was going to say, you can add different colors of fabric. So what I was thinking is kind of making kind of a striped effect by cutting this fabric and doing something like this. I'll show you. So yeah, like I said, you can get as fancy or as simple as you want with these beads. They don't have to be, you know, totally crazy busy with. So you could do something like that. I was gonna do huh, this is giving me ideas now. It's like you can make this into like a tubing type of deal and then sew it around all these different tubes around and make a design on it that way. And I really get into this so big time with the with beads. I've been enjoying making my own beads, even for dreadlocks and for like jewelry and for adorning my handbags that I've been working on, and purses. So the fabric beads are just a whole nother world, really, in themselves. So yeah. You could even put, like, instead of what I'm going to do now, but you could even put, I just thought of this because I have this cute little doll on in here, fabric doll. It's like a little fabric doll that doesn't have any any details on it. Could even sew that on there like that, and then you have a little doll. I think I'm gonna do that instead of the blue fabric. Changed my mind. So, because I'm kind of liking this little doll. So you can make a little doll on there, make a fabric doll. That's all about recycling, man. I mean, there's so many things, so many fabrics that are then being discarded, and they can be recycled and not just thrown in the trash. And that's what I support. I support recycling. People not just being quick to throw shit away. If it can be converted into art, I love it, you know? So this doll on there. Yeah, it's what's cool is when I make these beads, I start to get ideas for things. I think when I started off like with this project here, I didn't expect that I was going to do this. So this little doll on there. But I think that would be cool. Make a little tribal doll dreadlock bead. So yeah, I'm not going to be on here forever doing this. But I'm just trying to give you guys some ideas of what you can do with making your own fabric dreadlock beads. So, and these fabric dreadlock beads, they take a long time to do if you do them the way that I do them, because this one is not going to be done by the end of this video because I'm going to put more detail into it, and I'll give you an update on this piece and let you know how it's going. But I thought it would be cool to show you, if you want it to, you can measure out your dreadlock by just wrapping the fabric around your dreadlock and get an idea of how big or how wide you want the hole for your dreadlock bead so that it'll fit your dreadlocks, you know, perfectly. So that's just a little tip on how I measure my dreadlock, just by wrapping the fabric around my dread. Then that gives me an idea of what size dreadlock bead I want that I can use. My dreadlocks vary in so many different sizes. So yeah, see, my hair is just like so many different, you know, sizes and everything and shapes. Some little, some small, some big, some skinny, some flat. So I've got a little bit of everything going on inside this hat. And yeah, so I could probably wear all sizes of beads if I wanted to. But some people like to wear beads on only certain dreads, or wear beads all over their head. I think it would be cool to have dreadlock beads that fits every single dread on my head. That would be fun. So yeah, here we go. So I'm going to cut off this excess. You can even add other things to your dreadlock bead. You can add other beads, like glass beads, to it. You can glue on rhinestones. You can add a doll on there. Add a doll onto your bead. Yeah, you can make it as elaborate as simple as I said. I wish I had some beads to show you guys with me, embroidered beads. Like I said, they go really fast, and a lot of them I do use on my art, for my art dolls, and also for my handbags and purses. So yeah. Here we go. So yeah, you could get really into it and put a face on here if you want it, or I kind of thinking it might look cool to put like angel wings on it, but maybe that's going a little too far because this is a dreadlock bead and I don't want it to get too elaborate, you know. So, but yeah, you can get elaborate as you want. Have fun with it. Express yourself. Let's see. I was thinking of maybe making this little doll into a tribal doll, Maybe she can have a little blue hat on. Or he or she can have a little blue hat on with this blue fabric. Let me see how that'll work. Because this blue fabric's pretty stretchy, so let me see. So I'm going to do like this. It's very fuzzy too. A little fur hat on it. Nah, I don't think so. But yeah, that's what it looks like so far. Let's keep sewing it up on the sides here. Yeah, I wish I would have brought, I just bought some black thread. So I do wish I would have brought that over here because I'm starting to get ideas for how I want this to look. This doll that's sewn on here. Yeah, this is a very relaxing type of art to do. Let me see how it fits on that one dreadlock. And there we go. I've been wanting to make bigger dreadlock beads, so let's see. So this is the one dreadlock right here in question. And let's see if I can slip everything in there. And the cool thing about this fabric, because it's wool, it's stretchy. So there you go, yeah. It totally fits on there. It's like a little person on there. But dreadlock beads are fairly simple. Fabric ones are simple to make. You can get really elaborate and start doing a lot of embroidering on there, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to do a little embroidery on here, just on the top. And see, like I've got embroidery stuff like this is an amanita mushroom. I could add that to it if I want it. Put that on this side, you know, if I wanted to. I could add other things on here. Let me see what else I got in here. Anything interesting in here? You know, I could put this bead on there. It's a Rasta style bead. You know. So yeah, I mean, I think you get what I'm talking about. It can be as elaborate as simple as you want it to be. So I guess I took the. Did I take the? I did take the needle off. Okay. Don't lose your needles. I wish I had another color, perhaps, to use on here. Huh. I do have a box of scraps of fabric, but I don't want to knock it over right now. But anyway, let me do this. We'll just embroider. Let's do some embroidery on here. I just want to do a simple design on here. You can make it really simple too, just like whatever designs you enjoy. What designs do you like? What shapes do you like? Do you like circles? Do you like triangles? Do you like squares, rectangles, symbols? Sometimes you can put symbols on there. Anything that you prefer for your dreadlock bead, because it's going to be on your dreadlock, so it's what you want. So I'm kind of feeling like I want to put hearts on this. It's just feeling that way. So I'm going to embroider some hearts on here. If you want to embroider specific designs on there, you can use fabric markers and draw out the design you want it. Like I'm going to draw, I want hearts on here. So I'm going to draw hearts. And you can get these fabric markers at any craft store. You can get them online on Amazon, which is what I did. But yeah, you can find them at any craft store, really. See, I drew a heart on there. So I'm going to embroider the heart with this this red thread. So is it the red or is it the orange? Yeah, it's the red. Okay. So, and there's a Dikra symbol that looks like the heart shape. And what I found out that it means, the African Adinkra symbols, it means that this symbolizes patience. And it's interesting how when you see the heart everywhere, you think of Valentine's Day, you think of love, you think of Valentine's Day candies and things like that. But actually, from the Dinkra symbol point of view, it stands for patience. So, and you definitely need patience when you do these type of works of art, because that's what this is really. It's a work of art. It's wearable art. It's art that you're going to wear on your dreadlocks. And even people that don't have dreadlocks, who may be watching right now, you can also, if you have hair to put beads on, you can make your own beads, like braid your hair and then put these beads on the end of your braid. So beads can be used by anyone who can use them, who they can fit onto. I remember the first time that I wore beads was when my sister had put my hair in all these braids and put beads on the ends of them, and I was just so happy because I would shake my head and it would make all this clickety clacking noises and stuff, and I loved it. I liked the way it looked, and it was really a lot of fun. So and beads have kind of a power to them when people are wearing them, especially if you're wearing a head full of beads. That makes a statement. So yeah, I decided to ditch the idea of adding this color to there because this fabric is too puffy. So I think it would be better off used for a different project, like for some fabric beads, but not used to make dreadlock beads. So yeah. So if you ever have fabric that you don't know what to do with, this is what you can do with it. You can make these dreadlock beads. I wish I did have one that's finished. I'm trying to look around and see if I have anything that I can show you guys. Let's see. Okay, some of my dolls have the beads that I make on them too. So, but I could show you, this is how elaborate a little bit of how elaborate my embroidery can get. This is just a fabric embroidered hand sewn little doll that I'm going to make into a keychain. But yeah, this is how intense the embroidery can get with embroidering fabric. So, and what else can I show you that's embroidered here? They got this little shaman bunny doll right here that's embroidered, and her hat is embroidered. So yeah, embroidery, I can get that intense with it, and I do because it's fun and it's relaxing. So yep, that's why I do it. There's too many people that are just getting so enraged all the time by their life and taking it out on other people instead of just, finding something creative to do to express that anger, get that anger out, and do something constructive and not destructive, things that you will regret in the end. So I think that's good that more and more people are finding that something as simple as making beads can really diffuse a lot of your tensions. If you're in a high stress job and then you come home and you're still feeling that high stress because, that's what happens. It stays with you for a while. And if you're a really sensitive soul, you pick up on a lot of these very violent, intense vibes from all these people you're around all day long in a 9-to-5 job, whether it be your coworkers, your boss, or even the customers that you encounter every day. Their energies can get onto you. You can absorb them and take it in as your own. And then when you come home, you're feeling like the grouchy person that you had to deal with, for what seemed like several hours. And then you're acting like that person and don't realize it because, you're just that sensitive to where you just absorbed that negative energy. And if you find yourself getting off from work and feeling like you're still tense and angry, that could be the reason why. Because you're absorbing energies that are around you that aren't your own. And it stays within you until you realize that it's not your own. And finding ways to calm yourself down from a hard day's work, or from a rough day, just in general. If you don't work outside the home, you still have certain stresses as well, that you can find really challenging. But if you're able to diffuse a little bit, take some time out, get alone, and work on something like this, something creative, something that's going to uplift you and not bring you down. And some of the artwork that I do, people may find scary and not so uplifting because I create art whenever, no matter how I'm feeling, I create art because I know that it's healing and it's therapeutic for so many reasons. So some of my art can look to some people to be dark. Some of it is definitely jovial and uplifting and, very light. Some of it is dark and it's not like rainbows and sunshine all the time. So yeah, that's life. It's both dark and light. So, and being able to balance the two is what I think a lot of people are working on these days. And what can help you work on those type of things is doing creative projects. Create some creative projects in your life, or just one at least, and it'll improve your outlook on life, definitely. So this is what the heart looks like so far. I'm definitely going to do more on there, but I'm going to just put hearts all over this bead. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to put hearts all over this bead. But I'm just trying to give you an idea of how to do that in order to make this big gigantor size of a of a bead, Dreadlock bead. And the fabric beads, I don't know if you want to, you can spot clean them. If you do, wash them in cold water and just kind of immerse it a little bit, but don't manipulate it too much because it's embroidered. So and once again, definitely suggest that you take these beads off before you get into the shower or into a bath. If you're taking a bath, that's cool as long as you're not getting them wet, but that's what'll happen, they'll get wet. And if you don't take them off when you're in the shower and you get them wet and you just leave them in your hair and all that, it can mildew. So it's fabric, so I would take it off and then cleanse your dreads and then wait till your dreads dry and then put it back on. So just thought I'd let you know that. If you happen to make one of these or buy one of these Dreadlock beads from my shop, that's what you can do. So yeah, I also did a tutorial on how to make these small cloth dolls. They're not hard to make. I've got one right here. This is a keychain. It's a lot more elaborate. It's a shamaness Amanita mushroom doll made from recycled fabrics. See? Even the bottoms of their feet, she has Amanita mushrooms on it. So it's kind of like the Day of the Dead, because her face looks like a skull, and she's holding the Amanita mushroom. But anyway, yeah, you can get that elaborate with the doll on, say, this bead, if you want it to. It depends on how simple or elaborate you want to be. So I have made some Dreadlock beads that are very elaborate, and I've made some that are very simple. So I've done a little bit of everything. It just depends on what mood I'm in as far as that goes. These days I've been liking doing a lot of elaborate type of work. Even though it takes a long time, I like the way it turns out in the end, the embroidery, when it's really elaborately done. instead of so simplistic. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial so far, and that you're learning something from it, and that you're finding, you know what, I probably do have some recycled fabrics, laying around that I can do some creative work with. And then you can just go about it. This is just the basics. And then you get the basics on how to make this, and then you can just explore and do it however you want to do it. So I'm not the end all be all on how to make these beads. It's trial and error for me. I just experimented with it. I figured, I can make beads out of paper. Why not fabric? I mean, hello. So, yeah. So I started doing it. And there's so many different types of fabric beads out there. You've got the actual beads that you can wear in your hair. You got beads that don't have a hole in them, but they have a way of attaching them, like with a jump ring, something like that. So I didn't know that you could consider those beads, but I guess you can. I always thought beads were considered beads if they had like holes in them. But yeah, guess not. It's the world of fabric beads. So yeah. So I'm gonna tighten this heart up. See what I'm saying? It takes a while to embroider. And I made this embroidered monster purse a long time ago. It was green, looked kind of like the female version of Frankenstein. Wasn't quite like Bride of Frankenstein, but and it was about this big, and the whole thing was just the face and the hair. But I embroidered the whole face. Did I embroider the hair? I don't think, oh no, I didn't embroider the hair because the hair was braided fabric that I sewed together for the hair. The face was embroidered completely with green, and for the face. Different color greens, different shades of green. So, and that one took me, oh my God, how long did that take me? It took me a long time to finish. Because, I'm using some of the same colors over and over again, and then I run out, and so I had to buy more. And yeah, it was very intense, but I enjoyed it. And the woman that I sold the purse to really loved it too, so that's cool. So that it's always rewarding when what you create goes out into the world and someone can use it and they appreciate it. So there's that embroidered heart right there. I don't know. I feel like I want to put little eyes, like heart eyes, on this little person. I'm going to do that. So I'll draw on here some hearts for the eyes. No guarantee it's going to look like hearts because it's small. It's a small little person here. And details on something that's small becomes a bit more fuzzier. The more elaborate you try to make it, sometimes it can make it look kind of messed up. So I'm going to use, you know what? Maybe I'll use the orange for the eyes. Let's use a different color. Not too much of a different color, really. Orange, red, kind of the same color. Okay, so let's thread this up. And threading a needle is pretty simple if you have a needle that has an eye in it that's big and not small. Because at nighttime, I've got a set of all types of needles, size of needles, and at nighttime, if I'm trying to sew, I definitely need the needles that are big, have a big eye in them, because this house is like a cave. I can barely see anything. Even with lights on, it's just like, it gets really dark. So I'm going to go in here and sew what I hope will look like hearts on here. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll try. Because what helps when you embroider and you want to embroider designs on beads or anything is drawing it out if you can. So you have a little bit of an outline of where to put the thread, where to sew. I don't think it's going to end up looking like a heart on second thought, but it'll just be eyes, orange eyes. So, how's that? I'll show you in just a bit. Oh well, at least it has eyes, orange eyes. Maybe I could come in here a little bit and then tighten it up to where you can see where I can make it look like there's actual hearts, because I did think that was a cool idea to make heart eyes. So, yeah. Okay. There we go. The orange looks good, though. Yeah, if you guys have any recycled fabrics that you think you like, oh, I like this pattern on here, you can save it for projects like this. You don't have to use a bland, fabric color choices as I am using. You can use fabrics with patterns on them. I'm actually adding patterns onto this fabric and design because it is dull. It's just, it doesn't have much going on. I noticed lately I have, well, not lately, but for quite a while I've been enjoying using patterns and different designs onto the things that I create, the art that I create. It seems to bring it more to life and make it look more magical that way. So, yeah. Alright. So this is how this eye looks. It doesn't look like a, it doesn't look like a heart, but oh well. It's hard to draw on certain fabrics. Like fabrics that are a lot more fuzzier, which these two fabrics are. So, yeah. You could also, if you wanted to, you can actually use like acrylic paints on the fabric or oil paints on the fabric in order to paint a design on there if you don't want to embroider. It's a lot easier, I'd say, than embroidery. It takes a lot less time to paint onto the fabric. Kind of just like how I did this bead here. Excuse me. How I did this bead here, it's painted. So, you could paint the design on there if you wanted to, instead of sewing it on. If you have really fuzzy fabric, that helps. But I'm just going to go ahead and sew the other eye on here, since I've gone at it already here. I have no idea what this little person is going to be about now. I have no idea. I was thinking about just turning it into, I don't know. We'll see. I do want to outline all of these designs I put on here in black, with black thread, and I've got black thread in another room, inconveniently so. But yeah, I'll do that later, and in another video I'll show you what it looks like, the end product. But I'm just trying to give you the basics. I'm not going to finish this whole project on this show today because there's no way I can do it all in one show. Because it's hand embroidery. So I'm just going to do this last eye, and then I'm going to show you what that looks like. And then in this video, and then the next time that I come back, I'll show you what it looks like. Because a lot of people want to make, stuff to adorn their dreadlocks with, but they don't want to have something that's going to damage their dreads. So I think beads are a great alternative to, at least for me, beads are a great alternative to, like, say, dyeing my hair, all these different colors. Instead, I just threaded the big needle. I don't want the big needle because it's blunt on the end. But so many people want to do fun things with their dreads but don't want to use dyes. And I'm not bagging on people that dye their hair. I'm just saying some people don't want to dye their hair. And so there's other alternatives that you can use, like beads. it would be cool to make a whole bunch of these and just have them all in my hair, all in my, you know, just a whole bunch of these dreadlock beads. But yeah, that's how this is coming along so far. That's the eye of it. I kind of think I want to make it into like a tribal type of doll on here. So I think that's where I'm gonna go with it. So since I said that, I'm sticking to it, and I'm kind of liking the idea of maybe possibly continuing with, well, not possibly, but continuing with this design of the hearts all over the main part of the dreadlock bead. And it's going to become more and more of a bead, I think, as I go on than the sleeve, because when you embroider on the fabric, not so much stretchy fabric because it's a little bit more forgiving, but because this fabric's really stretchy, but when you embroider on the fabric just in general, the fabric shrinks in. So if you're wanting a really big dreadlock bead, probably measure a little bit more than you think you'll need for your dreadlock bead, because if you embroider it, especially if you embroider the whole thing, the fabric will shrink, and then it'll be maybe a smaller bead than you really want it. So you may want to just, like I said, measure it a little bit bigger, the scrap of fabric you're using it. Measure it around your dread, and maybe make it a tiny bit longer than that as far as measurements of the beads. Just an idea, you know, not telling you what to do, but just an idea. And that way it'll fit the way you want it to fit. And especially if it's not fabric that stretches, you want to definitely make sure you use a little bit extra. You know, measure out your dreadlock, and then add then some to it. Like, say for instance, if you used a fabric like jean fabric that's not stretchy, or khaki fabric, you want to make sure you use a little bit more than the width of your dread. So it's pretty much or the circumference of your dread, you might want to say, because you're measuring around it. When you wrap the piece of fabric around your dread, it's, you know, yeah. I'm gonna have some tea here. Oh, okay. But yeah, this is coming along really well. Probably what I'll do too, I'm starting to get ideas. That's what happens when you make these beads. You start to get ideas as you're working on one aspect of the bead. I'm starting to think I do want to put, like, have this tribal doll maybe have some tattoos, maybe add some arms on the side, maybe add some dreadlocks on the head. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of ideas just by creating it right now. So I hope this makes up too for the lack of videos I've had on this channel recently. I really apologize to all of you that look forward to seeing what I'm going to make next on this channel. And I'm trying to be better at being more consistent. I've just been going through packing stuff for a move, because we're going to be moving from this house into a different house. We finally figured out where we're going to move, found a place that'll work for us. So yeah, just getting more videos out there has been a bit of a challenge for this channel. So thanks for being patient with me, and I hope that these videos that I'm doing recently are making up for the loss of time, you know. So someone asked me, do I make jewelry that's like metal jewelry, like the kind of wrapped and coiled like jewelry type of thing? I've never made anything like that. I did watch a tutorial on how to make it, and it looked really interesting, and I may want to try. Oh no, I poked myself. I may want to try making some jewelry like that when I have money to get the supplies for it. So yeah, I know that was asked of me a while ago, and I apologize for not getting to the comment section all the time. and getting everybody's question answered. So that's what that looks like so far. Looks kind of cool, huh? And then there's a heart there, and then there's where I drew to make another heart. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to neaten this up. We can see what it looks like so far on this one dread that it was fitted for. So this is how it looks so far on here. It looks kind of cute. And see that? I'll get a little closer. See that? So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add dreadlocks to this doll, and then I'm going to finish up the hearts on there. Maybe give it a few tattoos on there, something really cool looking. Maybe something tribal related, having to do with patience of the heart. And this is how you make. This is so easy, but yeah, time consuming when you add extra things onto it. But this is how I make fabric beads, the bigger fabric beads. The smaller fabric beads, I wrap them around stuff like this, like a fabric marker, a Sharpie, or a pencil, or a pen. That's what I use to make the smaller beads with the smaller holes in them. So that's what you can do. Just measure your dread out, and see if it'll fit it. If it doesn't fit it, just measure out more fabric. And also the other tip that I gave was that if you're using fabric that's not stretchy like this is, then you're going to want to use even more fabric than you measure. You measure the width of your dread, the circumference around it of your dread, and if it just fits it, add more fabric to that. Don't cheat, because when you start to embroider, it's going to shrink. The fabric's going to shrink a little bit, and it's going to make the dreadlock hole right here, dreadlock bead hole, be smaller. So what I'm going to do when by next week, I'll probably have this done, because these kind of beads take more than one day to do. So, but I'm just giving you the basics, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. And I hope that this helps inspire you guys to be creative and to recycle and upcycle. Don't be, quick to give away those really decorative shirts that you have, but they have holes in them. Make some dreadlock beads out of them. Why not? See that? It looks kind of cool. And if you make it yourself, it's your own individual thing. It's your own, it symbolizes you. And it's something fun to put in your dreads. If you want to do something different, it's fun, It kind of looks kind of cool just like that. But yeah, I'm going to finish it up and neaten it up. But that's basically how you do it. Fabric beads, large fabric beads. For those who have larger dreads, bigger dreads. If you want to make one like this smaller, you can. You just have to use something like this size. Measure out your dread. Measure it out. See what size it is. And that's how you know if it'll fit or not. So yeah. Thank you for joining me today for today's show. The tutorial on how to make large fabric beads for dreadlocks. And adding a little doll onto it, tribal doll on it. So I guess we could call it the tribal bead doll dreadlock bead. I said bead twice. Alrighty guys, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for the likes and shares, and thank you for your kind comments. Leave your comments down below and let me know if you've experimented with making fabric beads, and large fabric beads at that. And also, leave the comments down in the comment section below, letting me know how your dreadlock journey is going. See, some people have a hard time on their dreadlock journey, and so they want to do some fun things and do some spiritual things with their dreads. And that's one thing you could do. You can make this into a spiritual dreadlock bead by putting symbols on there that mean a lot to you. So yeah. Thanks for joining me today. And because people have been asking how they can support this channel, Dark Moon Doll, you can donate $1 or more to my PayPal, which is kdaddytmama@comcast.net. And you can donate $1 or more and include with the donation a question you'd like to see answered on an upcoming show. And what I could do is answer the question in a video format, and also provide, a little bit of research along with it. So that's just something out there people have been asking. And so there's your answer. That's how you can support this channel. And you can buy my artwork too. So yeah, you don't have to buy anything from me to be able to watch this channel. That's not required, just letting you know. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, for making this fun dreadlock bead. And I will keep you updated on what it looks like when it's done. So yeah, stay creative and really appreciate the hair that you have on your head. And I will see you soon. Brightest blessings to you all.